First of all, I would like to say that I will give your marks in 1 or 2 days. Okay, it will take some time for me to give you your marks because I haven't been able to check your papers fully yet. Okay, so I'll be giving your marks in 1 or 2 days. So I'll give you the marks of both practical plus theory. Right. So we will start with today's class. In the previous class, we had discussed about. Did we start namespaces in the previous class?
Um,
Did we start anything like namespaces?
no, ma'am.
Okay. What was the last topic which we discussed in the last class? If I'm not wrong, we discussed about how to import modules. Was that the last topic?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm just going to show this file. Just tell me, okay? Let me share. Okay. So this was what we were doing. First, we had studied about the different modules in Python. Okay. What are modules? What is their utility? Then how we can get some help on the modules, how we can check all the various content within the module by using the dir function, importing modules, all the different ways in which you can import the modules in your program. I think that was the last. We have to
Yes,
start
ma'am.
from namespace, right? Okay. Yes, others, Chirag and Anshika, others, please tell me, are we to start from namespaces?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. We have to start
Okay,
from
okay,
namespace.
fine. Okay, so we are going to see namespaces today. Students, are you following the offline lectures? Because I had uploaded the video on namespaces, okay, in the last offline session. Please do watch those videos, right? If you are not able to take regular classes, you can watch those videos. That is also like a backup. Whenever you feel like you are stuck somewhere, you can refer to those videos. So we are going to see what are namespaces. Okay, now when we say what are namespaces, you might be thinking about it to be a space which contains some names. Okay, so here also in Python, namespace is a workable area which contains a group of objects. Those objects could be functions, they could be constants, they could be variables, okay, doc strings, all those things which are there within a module, okay. So that is a namespace, right? When you start working on your Python program, your program creates a namespace. Within that namespace, you have all the different constructs. If I talk about a namespace of your program, suppose you are writing a simple interest program, okay? So you will be using principal, rate, time, you will be using SI, you will be using compound interest. So all these things which you are using, they pertain to the namespace of your program. Okay. So a namespace is created in the memory and that namespace contains all that is this is a restricted area which contains a reference to all these content or all these objects which you are using within your program. They could be functions, they could be variables, they could be identifiers, they could be literals, they could be which you are using, the comment lines which you are using in your program. So all the things which you are using in your program, they are confined within the namespace of your program. Just like if I talk about your house, okay, so your house is a confined area which contains some family members, right? So all so you can say that I belong to this house, right? So when you are showing your belongingness, you are showing that you belong to a certain household. That household becomes the namespace. Okay. I will give you a very interesting example with this. So we were talking, yes, we had, I remember now, we had started with this. And we had started with something known as Enquesta. And in Enquesta, we had just reached that part where 6 teams are shortlisted. A, B, C, D, E, and F. 6 teams are shortlisted. Okay. And by chance, team A has a contestant Nalini and team D has a contestant Nalini. And I asked this question exactly to Chirag. Okay, that if the quiz master wants to refer to this Nalini, then how will he refer? He will say Nalini from team D, kindly report. Okay, so it would be something like this: D dot Nalini. You might have also seen when there are 2 or more students with the same name in the class. Okay. So how are they referred to? They are referred by their surnames. Suppose it sometimes happens that there are 2 students with the exact same name also as well as the surname. What will the teacher use to differentiate? Teacher can use roll number or teacher can use the father's name. Okay, to refer to both the people, or the teacher can use the middle name or any father's or parents initials to refer to the students. Okay, so this way it can be differentiated: D Nalini or A Nalini, Nalini belonging to team D or Nalini belonging to team A. Okay, so this is how your namespaces are created. So you can say that this Nalini belongs to namespace A and this Nalini belongs to namespace D. Is the idea of namespaces clear to everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, just
Yes,
a second. Just give me a moment, okay? Sorry, students, sorry for the interruption. Okay, so here we are. I'll give you one more example. Suppose there is a seminar being conducted, an interstate seminar being conducted in your school, okay? Or forget about seminar, inter school competitions are being conducted in your school, okay? Just like it happens in Sagar Public School, DPS and all, they call students not only from schools of Bhopal but also from the nearby cities, okay? So suppose one such competition is being organized in our school also, and we get students from, you have already seen such competitions in the form of inter-school, the Montfortian integration camps. What happens? Montfort schools from different parts of India, they visit, right? So now it is quite possible that there is a student named Amit Raj, who belongs to Montfort Bhopal, a fictitious student who belongs to Montfort School, Bhopal. And there is an Amit Raj which belongs to Montfort School, Mandala. Got it? So these 2 students, they are 2 scouts which are there in the camp. So Amit Raj belongs to Montfort School, Bhopal. So he would be staying with the patrol of Bhopal. Everybody, I hope you all know what is a patrol in Scout and Guide. You have come through that stage. You all have done Scout and Guide in some part of your life, I think. Anybody? Can anyone
Yes,
tell me what is a patrol?
The group.
The group, okay, it's a single group of scouts and guides, right? It can be a group of only scouts, only guides, never together. So suppose Amit belongs to the patrol of Montfort, the boys scout patrol of Montfort School, Bhopal, and Amit Raj, suppose the name of their patrol is, I'll just give a fictitious name, Tigers, okay. They use such kind of names, okay. And suppose this Amit Raj belongs to a group known as stallions, right? So now Amit Raj is a scouter who belongs to the group tigers, and this Amit Raj belongs to a group stallions. So how will you refer? Tigers dot Amit Raj. So it refers to which Amit Raj who belongs to Bhopal. And if I write stallions dot Amit Raj, then this will belong to which group? Mandala. Understood. So this is exactly the work which namespaces do in our Python program. Okay. So what happens? I hope this idea about namespaces is clear to you. कि ये करता क्या है, किस लिए होता है namespace? That should be clear to you, right? Now what I am going to tell you is, I'm going to tell you about its utility in a Python program. So now, whenever you create a program, your program creates a namespace which contains all the things belonging to your program. आप अपने program में चाहे कुछ भी बनाओ, कोई भी function बनाओ, कोई भी constant one declare करो, all that will belong to the namespace of your program. Uh, Suppose the name of your program is, you write something like even odd or simple interest, or you are writing a name, just giving a name interest, because you are going to calculate simple interest as well as compound interest. So a namespace will be created for interest. Okay, so that namespace can be interest. Now in your program you want to use some mathematical functions, so you import math. You import the math module. Now, because you import the math module, your program, Python automatically creates a new namespace named math and attaches it along with your program's namespace. So your program contains P, R, T, S, I, C, I, right? Whereas math contains all the things E, pi, tau, okay, nan, and you have cos, sine, tan, pow, sqrt, and a whole lot of functions, all the functions which are there within the math module, everything. So what happens? It creates a new namespace, and this new namespace is attached to interest. So three things happen. Firstly, this module, a new namespace is created. First step is new namespace is created. Fine. And attached to the namespace of the program. A new namespace is created and it is attached to the namespace of your program, right? So this is, now it could be decided that two or more teams, they can club up together for a group event. Okay, so two teams, they combine together, it means stallions, and suppose stallions and tigers, they both combine together to form one team for a particular event, right? And so what happens is, they are two individual namespaces, but they are combined, they are attached with each other, so that your program can use all these things, right? So what happens? All the functions, constants, and other objects of new namespace, they become available to the program. So all the things which you see within math, they become available to interest, right? So this is what happens. And one more thing happens. This new namespace, the module inserted or module imported, it is executed. Okay, it is interpreted and executed, and its code is included in the exe of the program. When the program is interpreted and executed, before the program is interpreted and executed, this math module is interpreted, executed, and its code is made available to the program which you are handling. Okay. New namespace created, all functions and constants of this module become available to your program, and this module, once it is imported, it is completely interpreted, executed, and its code is attached along with the exe of your program. Got it? So this is what happens when you are using this statement, that is import math or import any module, whenever you are importing any module, right? So this is what happens. I want you to write these 3 lines. When you issue, okay, I'll send these notes so you can write it at that time. Just I'm going to read this. When you issue import module command, internally following things take place. First, the code of imported module is interpreted and executed. Defined functions and variables of module become available to the current program. For imported module, a new namespace is set up with the same name as that of the module. Just take a look over here. This is the interest module. Okay, once this is imported, a new interest namespace is created, which is attached with your program's namespace. Now second option is, if you are using from module import object. This object could be a constant also, it could be any function also within the module. And as an example, I'm writing from math import sqrt. Now one thing I left out, that is in case of the previous first method. Okay, this is the second method. In case of the first method, if you are using any of these objects, you have to specify the namespace, because a new namespace is created and it is attached to your program, but it is still another namespace. Hence, so it's just like now 2 patrols, that is tigers and stallions, are together. They are going to work as a team, but still you can see that there are 2 Amit Raj there, right? So to refer to the Amit Raj from stallions group, obviously it will be called, his name will be called as Amit Raj from stallions. Please report. Understood. So still that qualification will be used. It is quite possible that in your program, suppose you named principal as PI. Now we also have a PI as pi in math. So how will you refer? Math.pi will refer to the value of pi, which is this expressed in float. Whereas this pi will be referred as a you don't have to write interest.pi, okay, as simple pi, right? When you write only pi, it means the pi belonging to your program's namespace, and when you write math.pi or module name.pi, it means it belongs to the imported module. Understood? Whereas in case of this from math import sqrt, you don't have to attach the name of the module. You simply have to write sqrt. Why? The reason is when you do this, no new namespace is created. Only thing which happens is this sqrt function is added to the program's namespace. It is simply added to your program's namespace and it just works as one of the components of your program only. So if you simply write sqrt49, it will give you 7. It will not accept math.sqrt now. Okay, you may even get an error over there. I haven't checked that. If you check it, you'll get it. Okay, we'll just see, we'll just check it quickly. Suppose I'm writing here import math, sorry, from math import sqrt, and I write math.sqrt. Let's see, it may not. Yes, it doesn't give us an error. Okay, you can do that, but it is not required. Okay, you can even run it without that. You can simply write sqrt49 and it will give you the answer as well, right? So this is what happens when you are only importing certain objects from the module. No new namespace is created, first of all. Secondly, the imported function, it becomes a part. Only that function is made available to your program, not everything else. Okay, and it becomes a part of your program's namespace itself. So code of imported module is interpreted and executed, right? So this still what will happen? The code of this module math, it will be interpreted and executed, but only asked functions or variables are made available to the program. No new namespace is created. Is it clear to everyone? Did you understand this? Everybody, what are namespaces?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now suppose I am importing the user defined module named temperature. If you remember what all things are there within temperature, I will just show it to you once. So this is temperature and I'm going to open this in Python. So it is contained within this location, program C, program files, your Python 3.8 folder, lib folder, site packages folder. So what I have done is, for purposes of convenience, I have added it to my quick access. Okay. And here you can see this temperature module. How modules are created, how they are made into modules, that we will be studying in the later part of the chapter. You can also see the pretty table module over here. Right. So we will be checking out this temperature module first of all. So you can see this is the temperature module. It's a very simple Python program. All it contains are two functions which convert Fahrenheit to centigrade and centigrade to Fahrenheit. That's all. Only thing what is extra you can see is the documentation which is there in the form of doc strings. Okay, you will only find these things, that is doc strings, which are your extra lines of code which you are typing over here. Now you can find two constant values. Constants are those values whose values don't change because they are defined in the module. Hence the module will be using these values only. So you can see freezing point is 0.0 and boiling point of water is given in Fahrenheit. I can also given it in centigrade, right? So freezing point is 0.0. Now if I have to use freezing point in my program, if I write like this, I'm writing import math, sorry, import temperature. Let me first reduce the size. I'm writing import temperature and now I'm writing here temperature dot freezing point. What is it? 0.0. But if I simply write freezing point, I write freezing point as something. Maybe I write it as 4 and press enter. And I just print its value. I will get 4. Why? Because this freezing point is not the freezing point which belongs to the module temperature. This freezing point belongs to the namespace of your program. Understood? Which is currently being written in the interactive mode. It's an unnamed namespace, but it belongs to your program, right? But if you want to refer to, so what happens is in your program, if there is a common object with the same name within the module also and your program also. So what will happen? The one which is there within the module will be hidden. So here when I am simply typing freezing point, this freezing point which belongs to temperature whose value is 0.0, it is hidden. And this freezing point takes up the value which has been assigned to it. It's a simple, you can say it's a simple identifier which is being an ordinary identifier which is being used in your program, right? If you have to refer to that freezing point, you will have to write it this way. Even if you are writing from temperature import freezing point. We know that when we write something like this, you don't have to qualify it, okay? But what if your program contains a freezing point? Now, if I write it this way, okay, let's check this out. I write from temperature import freezing point. And I'm just typing freezing point. It gives me 0, right? So here it will totally, if in this case, it will totally hide the freezing point which is there in your program. Now I'm writing here and I try to print. Right now it is giving me 4. Let me do it this way. So right now, see, when I had not created this, you can see that I have written here after this statement, that is freezing point 4, it was the previous run, okay. After that, I imported only freezing point from the module name temperature. And I simply printed freezing point. I don't know whether it is that of the program, because so far I am writing the program in the interactive mode, right? And because I have just imported this. So when I simply try to write its value, it will give me the value which is there within temperature. Then I wrote freezing point equals 4. Did it change the value of this freezing point which is within temperature? No, it did not change the value. I'll explain this. When you simply write freezing point, it returns the value 0.0. Okay. And when you are writing freezing point in exactly the same way, equals 4, that is you are giving your value. So now what is happening? These are the two namespaces. The first namespace is of your program and the second namespace is of temperature, right? So here we have a freezing point which has the value 0.0 and we have a freezing point over here which has the value 4. I gave the value 4, okay. Now you can refer to this freezing point without using this temperature namespace. Why? Because it is a part of it. So अब ये आपके प्रोग्राम का पार्ट है तो ये अब ऐसे नहीं लिखा जाएगा. It will be written like this. But internally, the program knows that it belongs to which module? It belongs to temperature module. Okay. And when you are writing this statement, that is, you are assigning a value, it means it is going to create a local variable, a simple variable within your program. Okay. Assign it the value 4, and it is going to hide this freezing point, which is part of the temperature module. So whenever you want to refer to this one, if now your program has one freezing point and the module which you have imported, or the object freezing point which you have imported from the module, that it carries the same name as the one in your program. So when this kind of a situation happens and you want to refer to the module's freezing point or the module's object, you have to write it like this: temperature dot freezing point. Understood this? So you have to do it this way. Or there is an alternative which you can do. So I'm just going to write that. Here I'm going to write from temperature import freezing point as FC, FP. And now if I just type FP, it gives me 0.0. If I type freezing point, it gives me 4, which refers to my program. Okay. So what I did was, here I just added an alias name only for purposes of your program. This alias name is only created for your program's namespace. So this freezing point contains an alias name FP now. So if you want to refer to this freezing point, you have to write FP. And if you want to refer to this freezing point, you will be using the term freezing point only. Is it clear to everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Just a sec, let me take your attendance. Quickly take the attendance. So this is it. Now we are moving on towards another thing, that is using Python standard library functions and modules. So one sec. Now Python contains some category of functions. Okay. Some functions are built-in functions. These type of functions, they don't require importing any module. They are available to the entire namespace of your program. Okay, automatically they will be imported by during execution of your program. When your program gets interpreted, these functions are automatically imported also, they are executed also, sorry, they are interpreted also, they are executed also, and they are added to your program's namespace also. Like, you have come across these functions many often. Do you remember len function? You don't need to import any module for this. You don't need to attach any namespace to this, because it is automatically available to your program. Type int float str, that is string. Okay. Bin, that is for converting into binary, converting into octal, converting into hexadecimal, and so on and so forth. Many such functions are there which are already available to your program. Okay, you don't need to include anything in this. So these are what? These are built-in functions. There are some predefined modules also. which are already installed and they come as a part of Python. Whenever you install Python, these modules will automatically get installed on your computer. Okay, you don't have to again search it, download it, install it. वो सब करने की जरूरत नहीं है. Which all are those modules? We have math module, we have C math module, then you have random module, you have your URL lib module. These are some of the modules and a few more modules are there which are known as, which come under the category of predefined modules. You don't need to download them or install them, but you need to import them in your program to use them. Now there are some third-party modules also. That is Python programmers and developers all around the world, they are not only using them for creating creating applications, but they are also using Python to create and distribute modules. They are creating modules. Okay, like the pretty table module which you have seen, the CSV module you have seen. Okay, here one more is there, pickle module, right? So pretty table module, CSV module, tkinter module, okay, numpy, scipy, pandas, okay. These are some of the third-party modules or modules created by Python developers which are used for specific application. Also, we have matplotlib, which has been cancelled from your syllabus. But if you want, you can even, your book already contains that. Those who want to explore that, you can even explore this matplotlib. This will help you to plot graphs and charts through your Python programs by making use of simple functions. Okay, you just have to call the functions and pass the values to them, and it will plot a wonderful graph, a wonderful histogram, just like you get in Microsoft Excel, right? So you can easily use this. Okay, so many things have been removed from your syllabus for this year, right? But next year, the next batch, if everything is okay, if schools reopen, they will definitely be studying it, right? So you can also study that. If we have time towards the end of after completing our syllabus, then we will also discuss this matplotlib. Okay, so in, but you should not always wait for me to explain you. All those who can, you can also explore this on your own. So these all are third party modules which you have to download from internet. You have to install them on your computer, and then only you can import and use them. Otherwise, your Python interpreter will give you an error message module with this found. Okay, so you have to download them and install them. There are so many different modules which are, thousands of modules are available for doing almost all types of tasks. So working in Python was never so easy. It has become so easy that all you have to do is just call those modules, import those modules and call those functions, and your work will be done very easily. Okay, so this is how, this is the complete picture of all the inbuilt functions in Python. I want you all to just note this down. Whatever I have written on the screen, please note it down. Once you write it down, please tell me.
Yes, ma'am. Written.
Just a sec. Just a sec, students. Okay, fine. So now we are moving towards the next part, and that is some inbuilt functions we will be seeing. Those which we have not covered in the last year, right? Just give me a moment. I will switch off the Teams. Okay, so just we'll just see this. Some people keep bothering me. Okay, so we are going to see some mathematical and string functions. As you can see here, you can see oct and hex. I bet you might not have used this. So oct function is used for converting any number to octal. Okay, like for example, I write oct 4. It will convert 4 into octal. Now because 4 already falls within the range for octal numbers. First of all, the question is, what are octal numbers? Krishanshu Kori, you will give me the answer. Yes, Krishanshu. What are octal numbers? Come on, Krishanshu, Aishwarya, Anshika.
Mom, octal
Hmm.
numbers are numbers with having base 8. That means which lies between 0 to 7, both including.
Very good, very good, wonderful, refined answer she gave. You have numbers which contain digits only within this range, that is 0 to 7, and they have the base 8. Understood? So these are octal numbers. Now because 4 already falls within this range, hence it will be defined, it will be displayed like this: 0, 0, small o, and 4, just like it is being displayed over here. As you can see, this first one is 0, this is small o, that is alphabet O, and this is 4. If I write oct 896, so what is its octal number? 1600, 1600. Got it? So this is the octal value for 896. Understood? So now if you want to convert any number from decimal to octal, you can do it very easily. Likewise, we have hex, which converts numbers into hexadecimal. Hexadecimal numbers are those numbers which fall within this range: 0 to 9, A to F. That is, in short, 0 to 15. Because after 9, everything takes up 2 decimal digits. Hence, 10 has to be considered as a digit over here, not as a number. That's why it has been taken as A. Understood? So this is what is done. So now what we are going to do is we are going to just use this function. So I'm giving you a small program. I think this function is clear to you. I'm just giving you a small program which you have to write. Everybody can do this. So I'm writing the question here. Write a program in Python to accept wala program to accept a number from the user and convert it into octal and hexadecimal numbers or hexadecimal equivalents. Quickly, फटाफट करो जरा. And the output should be displayed in this way. If I have a number and I'm accepting that within num, okay, I can at least create this twist for you. So output ऐसे दिखना चाहिए. Oct num, whatever is the value of num equals whatever is the answer. So if suppose num is 5 or num is 15, it should like be displayed this way. Is it clear? ऐसे करना है. Same way hex ऐसे display करना है. So you will do it and you will post it on Microsoft Teams here itself, and then you will let me know. Is it clear? So I end the class. Thank you everyone.